Right, so we'll begin. So, hello, welcome to another Zoom group. I'd like to start. I started doing it last week, and I think it's just a good thing to uh, connect, to focus on the connection. Um, so, if you've been to a Zoom group before, you'll have heard me talking about in existence and out of existence. So, sorry, just letting someone else in. So in existence is everything in front of you. So wherever you're watching this, if you're watching this in, sorry, I'm just making sure. I'm just muting people here. All right. If you, thanks. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah. So in existence is everything pretty much in front of you. Which sounds like a very simplistic way of describing it. But, if you don't assume anything, like if you don't assume that there's a behind you, um, then you don't know that there's a behind you. Because, if you think of like your vision, a lot of vision stuff is your brain fills it in, like there's a lot of puzzles that you can see, where there'll be a sort of a circle or something, and your brain kind of fills in a bit of the circle will be missing, and then your brain kind of fills it in. It's the same with behind you. Like you don't have any experience that there is a behind you, because you could kind of go, well, if I could turn around, then of course there's behind me. But then if you think of it like a spotlight, like if you turn around, that's fine. You can see what's behind you, but then you can see what was behind you, but then you still can't see what's behind you, if you know what I mean, because you've turned around. So now what was in front of you is behind you, and you still can't see it. Now, I'm not being when you get into that kind of stuff, it sounds ridiculous, but it's the thing of if you get rid of your assumptions about things, or not get rid of them, but just see them for what they are, which is assumptions. Like you'll never see behind you. You don't know it exists. Okay. You always ever see in front of you. Even if you turned around, it's still in front of you. What was back there, when you turn around, it's still in front of you and you still can't see behind you. Anyway, I don't want to get hung up on that. Point is that that's all in existence, right? So you are wherever you are, you're sitting in a room, you're seeing whatever is in front of you, your phone, device, whatever way you're seeing on me, and you're seeing me. I'm like just on a screen, making little gestures and whatever. So that's good. It's good to just be. It's just good to face what's actually what is in the moment, and what you know as against what you don't know. So that's what's in existence. Then, for want of a better word, I'm going to talk about what's out of existence, right? So out of existence is when you start to pull back from your senses. So straight away when you close your eyes, there's vision gone. So that back, front, all that sort of stuff goes. And this is, all this in your own experience from going to sleep, which we do every night. It's not new. It's not a new concept, but it's just looking at it or seeing it a different way. So then out of existence is everything that's as you pull back from your senses. So if you think of what's in existence as being like a sphere that you look into, I'm not saying it is, but it's just a good way to get your head around it. Sphere that you look into, and it looks like there's loads of space in here. And there may or may not be, it doesn't really matter. But then when you close your eyes and you start to pull back from your senses, so you pull back from your eyes when you close your eyes, and then you pull back your senses, your proprioception, which is your sense of touch and where everything is. Like if I close my eyes and I put my hand up, the proprioception of senses in my hands will tell me that my hand is up and this one is down. So as you start to pull back from that and you let go of the shape of your body, your feet can come up around here and your arms can go down and your head can be more in your chest sort of area and whatever. I'm not saying any of those are the way it should be because it's different. It varies, right? Same with your hearing as you pull back from your hearing, taste, all the senses. You go back and back further from existence. I was explaining to somebody during the week and I was saying it's a little bit like if you've ever seen any of those like science fiction movies where there's a space station and the ships come in and they dock with the space station. So the space station's in space, it's just there. The ships come in and they dock on the space station. So you could think of yourself when you're pulling back from existence as the space station is like the sphere that of existence that you look into and interact with. And then as you pull back from it, it's like your little spaceship detaches, or what's the term for that? Undocks. That's probably not right. You know, yeah, detaches from the space station, and then you're back into inner space, right? Now, what's the point of all that? Point of all that is um, that is, like in existence, you're just in a room looking at a phone or a device, but out of existence, you can become conscious of the connection between everybody who's in the Zoom group now and also everyone who's watching the video at any time, because there's no time out of existence. It's a different kind of a thing, or it's not there's no time, but time doesn't work. Like we in existence, it's linear. I was saying something a second ago. Now I'm going to say something. Something will happen in the future. It's a line. Out of existence, time kind of all happens at the same time. So let's do a little meditation just to connect with each other. Okay. So if you close your eyes and just pull back, I'm going to be opening and closing my eyes just because I got to keep an eye on all this stuff. But close your eyes and start to get a sense of pulling back from your senses a little bit. And as soon as you close your eyes, it's much easier to focus on your other senses. So just become more aware of the sensation of your hands, the lovely sort of tingling sensation that's in your hands. And notice that the sensation on the palms of your hands, that part of your hands, is different to the sensation on the back of your hands. And you can use words to describe that difference if you like, just to make it a bit clearer. Like for me, the sensation on the back of my hands is lighter, it's more airy. The sensation on the front, the palm side of my hands, feels thicker, more condensed, and more poised. Like it feels like it's more receptive. So then um, bring your attention to the sensation of your thighs and what they feel like. And when you compare that to the sensation in your hands, in my case, it's very different. It's still the sensation of vitality, of life force, but it's got a different quality to it. So for me, it's more solid, it's a heavier kind of sensation. And it feels like it's more slow moving. Now bring your hands to gently rest on your thighs. And that can feel like a little bit of a sensation explosion when you're this focused on the sensation in your hands, your thighs. And go back and forth in how you sense it, meaning look at the sensation or become more focused on the sensation of your uh, thighs and the feeling of your hand resting on your thighs. So you have a kind of an external thing coming down and resting on your thighs. And you can lift your hand off and bring it back down just to sort of help you get that feeling. And then switch it around and put your attention, focus your attention in your hands and what they feel like as they come down and contact your thighs. And get a sense of the point where your hands touch your thighs, because that's the membrane of existence, if you like. Because you see the way you can feel it from either side. You can feel it from inside your thighs, or you can feel it from inside your hands. That's the membrane into existence. Okay. So if you pull back even further and just put your hands out on either side of you, stretch them out. Right. And remember, you're out of existence. Okay. You're just doing this to sort of help yourself, but put your hands out on either side of you as if you're reaching out to touch something on either side of you, and see if you can get a sense of, start off with me, um, get a sense of me touching your hands. Now, don't imagine it, because you can imagine it in a second, but if you wait, you'll get a sense of a feeling, some feeling that it's like you've just been focusing on what is the sensation of you touching you, and now you should be able to, or not you should be able to, but you may be able to get a sense of you connecting with something that is you but not exactly you. It's a different, because back out of existence, this is where we're all connected. This is where all the lovely stuff happens that you read about and you hear about, people saying, yeah, we're all one, there's no separation. So back here, it's not going to feel completely alien. I'm not going to feel completely alien. Well, I hope not anyway. It should feel familiar but different. So you should be able to get a sense of me, but this is where we can connect. So even though in existence you're just on your own in your room looking at the screen and hearing my voice, but out of existence you're right here with me, right? And I'm right there with you, because that's the great thing about out of existence. There's no limits of time, space, none of that stuff. Okay. Now see if you can get a sense of the rest of the group who are here, the other people who are here. Again, it'll be similar but slightly different. And again, that sense of connection, support, love, oneness, all that lovely stuff. And the great thing is that even if you're watching this video afterwards, you can do it too, because as I say, there's no time, no space. So the people who are here at the Zoom group, we're all still going to be here out of existence. It all happens at the same time. So you can connect with us and we can connect with you. We can kind of feel, you can feel all the people who are ever going to watch this video. If you want, you can sense them. And the nice thing is you can do this whenever you meditate, particularly if you're feeling like you're having a hard day, if it's going well, if it's going unwell, if things feel overwhelming, there are always people to connect with out of existence and get support from and just be nourished by. And you can also nourish other people. You can connect with them, and you can as you get the hang of this, or not the hang of it, as you get more familiar with it, you can kind of focus your meditation on different things. You can kind of focus on, I'm feeling particularly robust today, so if there's anybody who needs my attention, then great, let me connect with them and I can feel them. Or if there's anybody in trouble, or if you have people that you know of in other countries, you can reach out to them and help them. So it's great. Okay, so if you want to open your eyes, if you haven't already. Okay, now, does anybody have any questions about this in existence, out of existence, connection, any of that kind of stuff? You can either put your microphone on or just send me a text or talk or whatever. Oh, hi, Emma. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. 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 Well, that's the difference between meditation and sleep. Okay. Because in sleep, particularly deep dreamless sleep, you're just gone. You're completely back out of existence from everything. And you can use sleep as a good, uh, not roadmap, but the process of going asleep is very, because we're so familiar with it. You can see how you begin you lying down. Okay, so you're taking all the pressure off your body to kind of keep itself up. Okay, so that's one of the benefits of lying down. Is you don't have to think about keeping yourself erect. So then you close your eyes and if we've done it so many times, we don't even think about it. But we go, okay, now I'm going to go asleep. And you don't just close your eyes and you're like a computer, like you just flick the switch and that's it. You're like, that doesn't happen. It's a transition. So you close your eyes and you're thinking about the things that you thought of that day, of the day, or whatever. You're thinking about whatever you're thinking of. So let's say I'm thinking about there's something that happened to me that day when I was driving into town to go to the shops. So that's what I'm thinking about. And how, like, you transition from that into the next bit is suddenly I'll be driving along and I'll go, oh, yeah, I really like my car, but I've always wondered would I prefer it if it was blue. And then suddenly the car is blue. And then I'm looking at the car. And then suddenly I'm outside the car as I'm also inside the car, driving the car, looking at the car, blue. And then, yeah, I wonder what it'd be like if it was red, and so on. And then suddenly, it's like, oh, I always wanted to have a flying car. Then suddenly the car is flying. And then, so now I'm into fully dreaming, dreaming, dreaming. And it's all me dreaming about stuff that I know about. And then as I go deeper into it, suddenly I'm like, I find myself in another place, in another time. It's not this body anymore, but I'm still me. All these people know me. I know them, but I don't really know them. I've never seen them before in my life, So I get into this more impersonal kind of dreaming, and then, boop, I'm gone. It's all gone. It's just black, nothing, right? And then I'm completely out of existence, right? I'm completely gone wherever I go, into the mystery, right? So that's sleep, okay, which we've got all the familiars, we're all very familiar with. But in meditation, we are doing the same thing, but we're being conscious at the same time. So you can, all going well, get right out of existence and still feel yourself sitting on the chair, still hear the noises on the street, still feel, if there's a little breeze or whatever, you'll still feel that. If somebody's lit a fire in the next garden or something, and it comes in the window, you'll smell that as well. So you're in both places at the one time. And that's like the one of the benefits of meditation is, well, certainly the meditation I do. I'm not talking about other kinds of meditation. The one of the benefits of meditation is that you can hold the two. You can hold the fact that, existence still feels very real, but you're also quite far back out of existence at the same time. And that gives you the capacity to do crazy things like connect with other people. And I can put my hands out here and I can sort of feel the air on my fingers. So it's like existence keeps going, but then I can also feel you all and all the people, and in a way, all the people on in the world, to in a way, in the same way that you could put your hands in the ocean and you could say I'm feeling the whole ocean through this my contact with it. Does that help? Yeah, the two exist together, and not to get to, like, if you're doing it consciously, you have to you will stay registered. This will all stay registered. And but the great thing about that is that, like, you start off when you beginning in meditation, you've got a quiet room undisturbed, but then, excuse me, as you get more experience with it, sorry, I just kicked something, you can meditate anywhere. And like right now, I can be out of existence. Doesn't really matter what's going on. If I want to, I don't. Oh, it's not like I'm driving down the road like out of existence, in existence. But if I need to, I can. And that's just a nice benefit of being familiar with my inner space, out of existence, in existence. And then the other nice thing is I take existence very seriously. The things that are real in existence, like communication and love, I take those very seriously. But I don't take anything else that seriously. I do, but not to the degree that it really bothers me. So that's another nice benefit as well. Okay. No. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, people talk about that a lot in, say, meditation. They'll talk about, um, it's very easy in meditation to have, particularly if you've got a nice quiet room and everything's going well and your mind is not too busy, you can have a feeling of dropping down inside yourself. And it's funny, like, you don't get the same feeling if you're lying down. It's only when you're sitting up you get this feeling of dropping. And people often talk about a sense of traveling, like I'm going very deep in my meditation, right? Um, in my experience, that has a lot more to do with your nervous system than anything else. Meaning, as you begin to meditate, you close your eyes and you're doing all those things, and you're scanning your body and you're letting go of tension. You're breathing a bit more than you would normally. You're consciously bringing your mind back to not thinking over and over. Your nervous system goes, oh, great. So the adrenaline levels start to diminish. Your parasympathetic system gets a chance to just express itself a bit better. And that creates feelings, proprioceptive feelings in your system that feel like dropping or feel like, going somewhere, right? But in terms in real terms, I was going to say, yeah, maybe it is real terms. In terms of out of existence, like, I can, like, as soon as you close your eyes and you stop thinking, you're there. There's nowhere to go. You're immediately there. It's immediately accessible. Okay, this idea of distance is just a very in existence kind of an idea. It's completely accessible, and you don't even have to close your eyes. Like, at this stage, I'm pretty much out of existence now as I'm saying this, even though my little brain is like, the wheels are going really fast to make the words that come out of my mouth. But then I'm also completely out of existence connecting with you all as I'm saying all this. You know what I mean? So it's through, I think it's through meditation, and it's probably through craniosacral practice as well, like having to work with the 2-year-old that's running around on the floor and be out of existence and help their system out of existence, which is where it all goes on anyway. And then also handle them as they're doing that, running around. Um, it's very easy for me to I'm very familiar with that, but it comes with meditation as well. But yeah, I like it's trying to find words to describe something because we're so used to existence and we're so everything says existence is real. It's quite hard to kind of really pull back from it to see the bits that are not really that are assumptions that are just like behind, like that sounds like a crazy thing to say, like there's no behind. But that's because everything is kind of geared up to make you believe that there is a behind. And I'm not saying there is or there isn't, but in your own direct experience there is no behind because you've never experienced it, and there's lots of things like that in existence. So it's to sort of find words to describe you know what is going on out of existence. I mean, even out of existence is not great. I think I might have borrowed that from Barry Long, that idea, that phrase, but I don't know what else to call it. But it's like this kind of what goes on in front, and then there's everything that goes on the inside of the glove puppet, or deep, back there. Like for me, the world is very much smaller than inner space. My inner space is much bigger than this. Okay, so I have a question here. Is it the same thing as being in alpha and delta brain wavelengths? And then somebody else. Oh no, that Emma says I get the feeling of dropping lying down as well. Okay, good. No. Well, it depends on where you measure it. If somebody measured my brain, I'm sure, in existence, which is where else they're going to measure it, then yeah, I'm sure my brain would probably go down to alpha and delta brain wavelengths. But that's not like that would be a representation of pulling back from existence. Um, so it's like if somebody videoed me when I was meditating. I'm sure my face changes. Well, I do video myself actually every day thinking about it. So I haven't watched those bits of the videos, but I'm sure my face changes. And you could look at me and go, "Oh, he looks like he's meditating," right? But so that's the same as if you measured my brain in like alpha and delta brainwaves. So, but what goes on inside is pretty much nothing to do with it, because again, the whole idea of brains and internal organs and inside your body, like you'll never see your own brain. In the same way as you'll never see any of your internal organs. Like really, they are energetic representations of what's going on inside your body, and inside your body is out of existence. Okay, this is just this is what what my sense of it is, and from working with lots of people, um, it seems to be right, because I wouldn't be able to do the one-to-one work if it was what it appears to be, because I wouldn't be able to connect with people. I just wouldn't be able to do it. Because so I know like it works because I know that uh, like me, it's like working with somebody's system remotely. I get a sense of, like, I have this symbol of their body. Okay, there's their head and there's their feet. I have that symbol. Okay, but I know it's just a symbol. It's like an energetic representation. Because as I was saying last week, like who who is what is going on in another person is a mystery to me. And I think it's a mystery to everybody, but I'm just talking about me. So I don't assume, like I when I'm talking to somebody, even if they're right in front of me, um, I don't assume that what is happening inside that container is the same as what happens inside my container, and that I am the same as they are. When people say the eyes are the windows to the soul, I think that idea comes from a recognition that when you look into somebody's eyes, particularly if you've ever done any person development where you have to do one of these exercises where you sit opposite a person and you just maintain eye contact for like even 5 minutes. But like if you do it for 10 minutes, it's even more. The longer you do it, the trippier it gets. Their faces start to change shape and you start to see all sorts of, in a way, you start to see through the curtain of existence a little bit, and you start to see, you could say, the being or the. I don't like to think of it in those terms because when you say being, it's like space being or something like that. I'm not talking about that, but you start to see the configuration of the person, the real configuration of the person that you're talking to, and it can be pretty trippy. So, uh, like when I'm working on somebody remotely, I use that kind of symbol of their body, like their head will be up one end and their liver will be there and whatever. But I'm not kind of like, oh, that's their liver. Like I don't believe it. I just know, oh, this is how, my this is how it's representing itself through my little brain so that I can, we can connect. It's the same way as like these words are coming out of my mouth. Like it's just a way of communicating. So the whole delta alpha thing, that all would happen in existence. But it's like there's no brain. I don't think there's a brain in there really. Like I've never seen my brain. I don't, like all I know is the sensation. So I have different sensations in different parts of my body. And if you get right into the sensation in your feet, it's so different from your chest or your, shoulders. And, you can get into all of that, but I don't believe it. It because anywhere, the only place I'm going to ever see my liver, it would be if my disc was cut open or something and I was looking at it in existence. So the chances of that are slim, but that's very different to the sense of it on the inside. It's like looking at other people and going, oh, well, everybody else has a back to their body, so I must, which is an assumption because I've never seen it. I don't experience it. I can sort of reach back there, but once I reach back there, I'm kind of going out of existence because I can't see it. It's disappearing, and I'm just into sensation. And the only place I feel the sensation, is out of existence. So, I hope that helps a bit. When you're lying down, Emma, and you feel that dropping, do you feel like you're dropping back that way or down this way?
It feels like a drop, like I'm sinking in a bed even more. So I think
Yeah,
it has to do with the nervous system, just like the letting go. I just feel the letting go of the nervous system, which it, in my experience, it doesn't happen before 20 minutes. Um, and then there's a drop, and then there's some type, it feels expensive. So it's not
yeah,
just a drop like this.
yeah. Yeah, the thing, like for me, when I'm lying down and I drop back that way, that feels very different to when I'm standing up and I drop this way. And um, it's almost when I'm lying down and I drop back that way, it feels like I'm falling out of my body. Whereas when I'm sitting up and I drop this way, it feels like I'm dropping into myself. I don't know what I mean by that, but there's a
No, but that's
difference.
interesting that you're saying that because it feels to me more scary, the dropping feeling when I'm laying down compared to when I'm sitting. And I
Mm.
do practice meditation on a more regular basis, sitting down
Yeah,
versus laying down. But the times where I really, really let go, lying down have been the scariest times for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Any other questions about that? That's what we were talking about. No, I hope I answered your question about the alpha and the delta. Okay. Now, I did have a little thing that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about billionaires. They've been on my mind a little bit.
have been on my mind too.
Okay, good. Um, so just like I think it had been coming into my mind a little bit, and then I got this series of memes that somebody sent me or it popped up on my feed, and it just really confirmed a lot of things. So just now I'm going somewhere with this, but you'll have to bear with me a bit because, like for me, that you know, the transition from millionaire to billionaire, it's just like, oh, that's somebody who's pretty rich. And over the years, I've kind of went, yeah, millionaire. It used to be like when I was a kid, oh, he's a millionaire. That's it. Like you're just loaded, right? Now it's like, oh, well, yeah, millionaire is not such a big deal. Yeah, people I might know might be millionaires. I'm sure I do know a few millionaires. It's not like they tell me, but it seems like it's much more possible. And billionaires is kind of just gone to where the millionaire bracket was. Okay. But that is not actually true because a billion is such a big number we can't get our head around it, right? So just to and kind of quote from some of these meme things because I found it very helpful. So 1 million seconds, right, is 11 days. Okay, 1 billion seconds is 32 years. Okay, that's just so I was like, whoa, okay, that's a lot. um, so if you earned 50 million, and this is all dollars, $50 million in your lifetime, you'd consider yourself rich. I know I would. 50 million, that's a lot, okay? But you'd still be 950 million away from being a billionaire. Okay. So that's like, oh, okay, 900. All right. That's a lot more than I was. Yeah. Okay. That's a lot. Um, so that's just to sort of help get your head around the billionaire thing, right? Now, the there's this common thing about the gap between the rich and the poor, and how that is increasing, right? And uh, so at the moment, the world's top 26 billionaires, they own as much wealth as the poorest 3.8 billion people. So 26 people have as much wealth as 3.8 billion other people. Okay, so that's a lot. Okay. Um, Billionaires got $565 billion richer during the pandemic. Okay. They, on average, made 42 billion a week. Okay. So that's a lot. That's a lot of those 32 years of seconds. Okay. Um, the number of billionaires is going up. Okay. So, so is a very small number of people have a lot of wealth. Okay. And you could say, well, they're pretty charitable. They donate money, don't they? Okay. So I've kind of been focusing on Jeff Bezos because he's the biggest billionaire. I think he just crossed into 200 billion a couple of weeks ago. Okay. So he made headlines for donating 100 million to Feeding America in April. Which is great, like 100 million to help feed people. That's fantastic. The thing is, though, he makes $215 million every day. And he's probably making more now because this is old, by it's going so fast now, right? Or Bill Gates donated 589 billion to charity in 2019, which is brilliant, like $589 million. That's brilliant, right? That what he actually donated was 0.6% of his 98 billion net worth. Okay. So in that context, it's not that much at all, really. Okay. Just quickly scanning through this now. There's just a few other things. The headline on this one is "Billionaires truly do not give a fuck." Okay, it's a slightly inflammatory kind of thing, but this is kind of what struck me. Right, it would cost $20 billion to end homelessness in the U.S. Right, um, Mike Bloomberg could do that tomorrow and still have 28 billion to his name. Okay, so he's obviously worth 48 million. So he could give 20 billion, or what? I'm mixing them up. It costs 20 billion to feed the homeless in America, to end homelessness in America, to end it. Like, that's amazing. 20 billion. And Mr. Bloomberg could do that and he'd still have 28 billion left. Okay. Halting global warming would cost 300 billion. I don't know how they arrived at that figure. Oh, hang on, it says sources for Center for American Progress, Bloomberg, Forbes, World Billionaire List. Okay, so it looks like these are fairly reliable. Okay, so ending or halting global warming, 300 billion. Okay, it's a lot of money, but that's what it would cost. Okay, so the world's 10 richest people could each throw in 30 billion each and still have 386 billion left among themselves, which is amazing. Okay, so that's just to sort of put a little bit of figures around it and get our head around it a bit. So, um, so there's a very few, like limited or small number of people who have the capacity to do a huge amount of good. Okay. So as I say, I focused on Jeff Bezos because just billionaires, it's just, they're all bastards, or, it's too broad. It's too dehumanizing. So I watched a couple of interviews with Jeff Bezos. And I mean, in that series of memes, of course, they were saying they're all disingenuous. They don't really care. And it's all just PR. Um, Now, that may be true, but I just did not get that feeling from Jeff Bezos. I got a much stronger feeling that Jeff Bezos, like the rest of us, thinks he's great. I mean, like I would consider myself reasonably humble. And yet I know myself well enough to know that if I'm telling you a story about me or something I did in my life, I'm going to look good in that story. I am going to come across well, okay, with the best of intentions. Even if I tell you all the gory details, even if I tell you all the terrible, things I might have done in an incident, and I'm trying to be really honest with you, I still will slip in those, little justifications. Here's why I behaved badly, and because to myself, I, want to look good. I think we all do. Okay. So I don't think it's any different with Jeff Bezos. I don't, even though, funnily enough, Jeff Bezos does look a little bit like Austin Powers, the Doctor Evil character. But that's, he doesn't, I'm almost sure he does not think he's an evil man, right? Or he's doing anything wrong. Okay. And yet, like, he could end, homelessness in America and still have a lot of billions left, right? He could go a long way towards halting climate change, um, and still keep a bit like on one of the documentaries I saw. He owns all these different homes all over the place, And whenever I see somebody owning more than one home, immediately I come to that thing of, a rich man can own many palaces, but he can only be in one room at a time. I've always remembered that. It's something very true about that. So, so there's Jeff thinking he's doing a great job, and it's like most things that um, damage a lot of people is that nobody thinks that it's that they're doing a bad thing. Like, okay, just hold all that now while I go off on a little bit of a tangent, but I will come back. Like, there's a lot of concern at the moment about AI, And is AI going to kill us all? Is it going to, they talk about the singularity, which is where artificial intelligence becomes conscious. And then, it's like that movie Terminator. Suddenly they all start talking to each other and either nuke us or enslave us. And suddenly we're all in the matrix. We're all just batteries. So there's, who's it? Elon Musk. He's very concerned about it, and he's pretty smart. Like he would probably know a lot more about AI than I do. And he's very concerned. And then there's other people who are not concerned. But for me, it's like, but sure, it's kind of happened already. It's just not the way we think it because, like, corporations are artificial intelligence. They operate in the same way that we're afraid of that computer artificial intelligence is operating. And it's a lot to do with distance, you know, because you say, well, what's a corporation? Well, I mean, corporations have been given their own legal entities. So technically they are, you, if, okay, they're not conscious, but there's separation. And as soon as you can get some separation, you can start to separate from responsibility. And it's like, oh, well, like most of the damage that's being done is being done by corporations. I think, like we're all buying electric cars and recycling. And I think 70% or higher of all the damage that's being done to the planet, it's being done by like 100 corporations. This is my representation for 100, 5 fingers. But yeah, it's only 100 corporations. Okay. So that's not to say we shouldn't recycle and do all the things that we're doing, but you just sort of face what's really happening as well, that there's huge corporations that are doing it. And it's like, oh, it's the corporations, but corporations are just made up of people. Like, but we've separated away from them. We've separated ourselves from them so that there's a sort of feeling of, oh well, I'm not the bad guy here. No. It's a corporation. It's some other thing. I remember seeing a documentary about a village in Africa that was owned by another little village in Switzerland, and um, the village in Africa or area in Africa produced something, let's say cotton or palm oil or something, right? And they're all, the level of poverty is quite low the level of poverty is quite high in this area in Africa. And obviously it's not in Switzerland. Everyone's having a lovely time. And something came up where the village asked the people in Switzerland who owned the land if they could do some like irrigation project. It was going to cost a certain amount of money, which would have meant that the people in Switzerland didn't get their dividend that year. I think it wasn't a big amount now, like it wasn't, for 20 years or anything, just, that year. So Switzerland has a version of direct democracy. So they were able to, this town in Switzerland that owned the land in Africa, they heard all the information and it would have made a big difference to the people in Africa. Like I was watching it going, oh, well, that's great. Like they just, give them the money and it's going to, they get the irrigation system and, it's going to die and it'll be brilliant. So they voted in Switzerland and they voted not to give them the money. I couldn't believe it. But like on reflection, it was like the distance was way too big. If they'd all had to go to Africa and be in the area and see it, I'm sure it would have gone differently. Because they're all in their lives in Switzerland and like, oh, I was going to do that. I was going to make that kitchen extension with the money for this year. And no, I don't know. Do we really need to do that? Anyway, they didn't, Hang on, someone's got a question. What do these people have in common besides being billionaires? Well, I think that something like 44% of them inherit the billions. So I can only imagine what inheriting that much money would do to your brain. So I don't know about that 44, but I know Jeff, my new best friend Jeff, didn't inherit his. He grew it up 5 You're saying, hang on, Emma, what are you're waving at me now?
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to say
Right?
something. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, go
No,
on.
I just think it's interesting. I googled top billionaires in the world to see right now who we're getting, right? Because I don't know them personally. Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Larry Ellison, Bernard Arnold, Larry Page, Michael Bloomberg, Charles Koch, David Koch, Jim Walton, Rob Walton, Alice Walton. What do they have in common besides inheriting money and having a shitload of money? They're male, they're white. Being
Yeah.
good is tied to this. This is, to me, is being tied to what we call today in 2020 white supremacy. And the
Possibly.
whole, yeah, maybe, possibly. I'm just sharing my opinion.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, because the reality of it today, if I Google top billionaires in the world, I may see one woman, I may see one person of color here and there. And it seems to resonate with this model that we've been operating under for so long, holding standard as the good standard. And everybody has fallen under this, like, oh, I feel good. I feel good. Why? You know, what makes me look like a good person? Oh, I give money to charity. I'm a good person. So I think it's interesting that nobody talks about that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that side of it is definitely, yeah, it's a product of lots of unconsciousness in our society. And it's not really, it's not, there's not a huge amount I can do about that. Okay. But there, where I was, where I'm heading, right, with it is that, yeah, I mean, you're right about the white middle-aged guys. We've pretty much taken over the world. But um, again, just focusing on Jeff Bezos, because I can't focus on them all, because each of them they're different. They're different kind of people. But just, and probably because Jeff is the biggest, right? Um, and this idea that um, in when Jeff looks in the mirror, he thinks he's doing a great job. Okay, so somewhere in Jeff, there's got to be a huge amount of um, I was going to say cognitive dissonance. I'm not sure if that's the right expression, but there's a big gap between what is actually happening and what he thinks is happening. So I think the what is a terrible thing in one way, the fact that so few people have hoarded so much money, because they have hoarded it. Like, they've got so much money that they couldn't spend it in their lifetime. Okay, so if you can't spend it, if you can't, you got more money than you can spend in your lifetime, then you're hoarding it. Okay, so they've hoarded huge amounts of money. So if you think about, say, every terrible thing that's happened, the people who did it, they didn't get up in the morning and go, I'm going to do a terrible thing today. Okay, not unless they've got mental problems or a psychopath or something like that. Most people who did terrible things said, yes, it's a hard thing, but it's for a greater good. So they sort of felt like they were doing good. Okay. And it seems like one of the things that I've seen this myself with people, it's one of the downsides of success is that when you become successful by whatever standards, it's very easy to feel like you were the cause of it. You made yourself successful. Okay. Um, so it doesn't matter whether that's through real estate, writing, art, filmmaking, online entrepreneurship, doesn't matter. If you start to become successful, meaning, the world kind of agrees with you, then you start to feel like that you made it happen. I saw it particularly in the 2008 crash here. There were a lot of property developers here who were very wealthy on paper and who were very confident, very cocky. I'm self made man or woman, mostly men. And I did it, and it's about goals, and all you have to do is, and then they just love to tell you how to sort your life out at the drop of a hat. Then the crash came, and my God, it was just so shocking for them because all the reasons that they thought they were doing so great suddenly weren't there anymore, and they were just lost. Okay. So, from going back now to what we're talking about out of existence. So, I've been tuning into the old billionaires and reaching out to them, not invasive, not doing anything, but just trying to get a sense of them, right? And they're all very lost, like seriously lost, because uh, they're so detached from their heart and their soul. And I don't mean their heart in a kind of, hearts and flowers, hallmark kind of heart thing, but just like the sort of heart of passion and of vitality and of, um, when you look in the mirror, that you um, can feel the vitality of your being kind of radiating back at you. They're very far removed from that, and and very unconscious of it. So, because to become that wealthy, it means you could really believe in existence. Like you really have to buy into it. You really have to, go into it hardcore. And the thing is, that it's in as much as, like I've talked about, either everything is random or everything is significant. Um, I can't see how, like most people will kind of, even people who are like, no, it's all random. They don't allow for the possibility of some bits are random and some bits aren't. And I think that's right. I think it's either one or the other. Either everything's random or everything is significant. Now, from my perspective, everything is significant. So it's the same. It's like either life uh, knows what it's doing or it doesn't. I don't think there's a middle ground in that. You can't like have, this is an aberration. Life's mostly gone on top of things, but then over there it's lost the plot or that's out of control. So, from my perspective, life has made the billionaires, made the situation. Everything is as it should be. Okay, that's not to say it's good, but everything is like life is behind the whole thing. Okay, so these people are bearing the burden of that unconsciousness at the moment. Um, and the good thing is that it's not like there's a whole country causing a problem. It's not like, for example, China. I don't know what the population of China is, but I think it's a couple of billion. It's not like, oh, the whole Chinese population is causing a lot of trouble. It's not. It's only like 100 people or even one person. Like Jeff Bezos could change things significantly, right? In lots of ways. He has that. Um, he has he's accumulated so much wealth that he could do a lot of really good things. So from our perspective, that's great because we can help Jeff out of existence, help Jeff become more conscious. Okay. And I don't mean that in an invasive way, like we barge into Jeff behind existence and go, right, we're going to sort you out. But Jeff is like when Emma asked what do they have in common? what immediately popped into mind is, well, they're all human beings. That's what they have in common. They're all human beings who, like, if you look in the mirror and you have convinced yourself that you're doing good, it means that somewhere you know what good is. And I don't mean good in a Sunday school kind of way, in a prescribed way, but just your own sweet nature, goodness, that kind of thing. Because, as I say, I've watched a few interviews with Jeff, and he's either a great actor, which I don't think he is, or he genuinely has affection for his family and his kids. And in his mind, he has great affection for people and doing the right thing. And so it's there. Like, the seeds of it are there. The same way as the seeds of it are in everybody. So he can, it's there, and you can focus on that because that's not invasive. That's There's no, like, with like, I don't work on people who don't ask me to, you know, even though, well, I've never tried, but I don't know if you could or not. I have, someone has asked me to help somebody else. I've done that. So it is possible to tune into somebody else and help. But then, like, how I work is I make myself available. Like, somebody was asking me during the week, how do you find me out of all the, someone I work with? They were like, how do you find me out of all the millions and people, billions of people on the planet? How are you able to tune into me and work with me? And it's like, oh, sorry, hang on. That's very interesting you say that, because that's exactly the sense I got when I tuned into Bill Gates, that he's thinking that he's doing the right thing and he wants to be a good person. Is that what you mean? Um, so yeah, what was I saying? I was saying about working with people. It's never a case of, I am going to barge in there and fix you. It's always a case of, I sort of, and when I was explaining to this person how I find people, is I don't find them. I'll sort of let them find me. Okay. Because I've talked to them. We've been talking on the video, and then I sort of, we turn off the cameras, and then I close my eyes and I start to work, and they come to me. I don't go towards them. They just come to me. So it's they find me, right? And in the same way, I can hold the intention, and you can hold the intention, and we're going to in a minute, hold the intention for Jeff Bezos, and he will find us, because it sounds ridiculous to say it for someone who's like got $200 billion, but that is like, he's very lost. He's a very lost person. And like the rest of us, is trying to become more conscious. And if you're part of the group and I've worked with you, you'll know that it's very powerful. Like, it is very possible to help from distance. And yeah, you might have a different level of experience to me, or you might have a different level of familiarity with working in this way, but that's what I meant. Yeah, he felt lost. Yeah. Yeah, but you can still do it. Okay. So that kind of turns the whole thing, right? Because the thing is, right, every night Jeff Bezos disappears into the mystery, just like you and me, right? That's no different. And out of existence, Jeff is just the same as you and me. Okay. But in existence, he has got a lot of unconsciousness to deal with. So because I don't have that pressure, I don't have $200 billion. Like, if you've ever had little fantasies about winning the lottery, if you've ever actually thought it through beyond the little party, and the little, oh, I'd buy that thing and fix that other thing. Like, particularly if it's a lot of money, like here we have the Euro Millions. I don't know in America or other countries, but there's Euro Millions here, which is always in the hundreds of millions. And it's, there's a thing, they did a study of people, and I think it's in America, it's $70,000. Beyond $70,000 a year, if you make $80,000, it doesn't make you 10% happier. If you make double that, if you make $140,000 a year, it doesn't make you 50% happier. It stops at 70,000. Beyond that, doesn't make you happier, right? There's been loads of studies to show that, right? that beyond a certain amount, you just don't get happier with more money. Okay. So just imagine, imagine like what it must be like for Jeff, where it's like, I am the richest man on the planet. Like, literally, I am the richest. There's nobody else who's richer at the moment. Okay. So I'm the richest man on the planet. So I should be really happy. And I'm sure he's not, And I'm super successful, and I'm sure he could distract him. He's got lots of distractions, and we're going to go into. I just got a thing from Amazon about something they're going into to do with podcasting. Amazon Music, right? We're going to go into music, and we're going to do this. That'd be very distracting. But behind all that, he'd be like, what's happened? Like, how did I end up here? I was just going along trying to be successful and trying to be successful and trying to be successful. And now I'm the wealthiest man on the planet. And, you know, he's going to die like everyone else is going to die. He dies every night like we do. Like, he goes to sleep, he gets. So with your knowledge of out of existence, we can help. Like, you can actually have a tangible. We just did the tangible, right? You can feel it. You can have a tangible impact in a situation where it's very easy to feel powerless. And I'm not just saying that to just, make myself feel better or make you feel better. Like, oh yeah, we're just the slaves on a tea break, and the pharaoh is, Jeff up on the top of the pyramid, and we've got to move this big stone up there, and I'm just sort of trying to make us all feel a bit better about that. No, I don't think so at all. Because in a weird way, out of existence and even in existence, I feel kind of sorry for him, because I can imagine what it would be like to be that um, not disconnected, but that out of phase with myself. That on the one hand, my little heart was wanting to be good and do good, and yet I've hoarded this huge amount of wealth, and I'm buying these, huge mansions for crazy amounts of money that I know that I could help so many people with. Somewhere I know that. Okay. So, what I've been doing and what I encourage you to do is include the billionaires just generally, because there's not a lot of them. You can pick one if you like. I just happen to pick Jeff. Um, he's actually, like, there's something about Bill Gates that I just don't really resonate with. It's hard for me to have warm feelings towards him. But with Jeff, he just has a nice kind of cherubic face, and he just seems like it's easier for me to connect with the compassion I would have for him. So pick a billionaire, or you can pick Jeff if you like, and let's do a little meditation, just because we're going to wrap up soon. So if you just close your eyes again, and again, just pull back from your senses a little bit, pull back out of existence. So, as we were saying, you're in existence and you're out of existence, both at the same time. You're with the group, you're with the rest of us, you're connected with us all now. Okay, even if you're watching this on video, you're still connected with us. Okay, there's a strong connection. And I can tell you, and I'm not just making this up, I can feel you all a lot stronger this second time we've connected. Okay, so that's good. Now, just for the purposes of this group, we will kind of act as one. Okay, you can have your favorite billionaire that you can work with later, but for now, let's just focus on Jeff. Okay. So as a group, because together we're actually, the sum of us all together is way more than just individually. So together as a group, we are very strong. You can reach your arms out if you want, if that helps you connect. Okay. And if you bring Jeff Bezos, just get a sense of Jeff. Okay. And again, don't be invasive. You're not looking for the unconscious part of him. You're looking for his sweet nature, like your sweet nature, goodness, not in a Sunday school way, but just his essence of who he is. Okay. And start off by just waving. So don't try and do anything. All you're doing is acknowledging his presence with your loving presence. That might not seem like a lot, but it's very powerful. You're kind of, in a non judgmental way, you're just walking along beside him. You're not trying to make friends with him. You're not trying to help him. You're not trying to do anything except be with him and let him know that you're there. And when I say you, I mean us, that we're there. So, in a way, we're kind of all around him, but not surrounding him, just with him, seeing the being in there doing its best, just like your being is in there doing its best with the unconsciousness that you've taken on. Uh, he's in there doing his best with the unconsciousness that he's taken on to refine. And you're just being a bit of company with him. We are all being a bit of company with him on the way. And that you have a sense of availability, that you're available for him, the totality of him, unconscious, conscious, the whole lot, that you're available for it, for him, for whatever he wants. If he needs anything, or if he's struggling with something, or if he. And you're just with him, just gently smiling, yeah, waving if you feel like it, not frantically, but just waving in acknowledgement that you see him, that you see that he's another being like the rest of us, and that we recognize him, the being that he is, the part of him that's right in there, same way as it's right in us. And we just stay with that for a minute, because if you do this on your own, you can, like, in my experience, it doesn't always happen, but most times it does happen, that things begin to happen. And they can be as varied, even with the same person, just day to day, it can change and be different. But even just doing this, just coming in, bringing his presence, connecting with him, being with him, has a big impact. And then, as I say, if you do this on your own, it will be different. Things will change or not. But it's a lovely practice to do. As I say, you can pick other billionaires to work with. All right. So you can just leave that there. You can just stay with them and open your eyes, or you can withdraw from them and open your eyes. So that is a lovely thing to do, and I would encourage you to do it. Um, I think it's better if you pick one person to focus on, but you can just pick the just billionaires in general. The more human you can make it, the more you connect. So that's why I say pick somebody. Someone has said, I hope he gives us an Amazon coupon for this, which is great. And somebody else says, I think I read that he thought Amazon had a 30% chance to succeed. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't have the business side of it. And I know that kind of wealth goes up and down. It's very much affected by the stock market. But either way, as I say, 11 days is a million seconds. 32 years is a billion seconds. Even if things go badly for him, he can still do a lot of good. Okay, so yeah, I'd encourage you to do that. Include them in your meditations. It will make a big difference. And those the good side of there being all that wealth being focused on so few people. Obviously, it's not great. It's not a good thing. But currently, just the way the situation is, it is focused on those few people. So it means that those few people can have a big impact very quickly. So doing this kind of work can help a lot. All right. Thanks very much for coming along to hang on, one more message. Let me just go down, see what it is. When I was with his presence, I sensed a very young version of him. Yeah, that's lovely. Yep. Yep. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to wrap up now. Thanks very much for coming along to the Zoom group, and maybe I'll see you next week. And this will go up on YouTube, so you keep an eye out for it and redo this bit again if you want. And yeah, I wish you all well and see you next week. Bye.